Thank you so much for staying with us even after that dreadful segment just now. Michaela, you're not allowed back. All right, welcome to our Cozy Corner, where we're about to skip through the pages of enlightenment and empowerment and sharing some of our favorite books that fuel our spirits and ignite our passions and really just gives us a moment of pause in what can sometimes be a whirlwind life. So we're going to be sharing with you some of our favorite books. We're normally sat here talking to other people about maybe their books or even in a book club. But let us begin with some books that we have read or are rereading. Yeah. One of my favorites right now is this book called You're Only Just Beginning. And it's by this wonderful author called Morgan Harper Nichols. And she mixes the wonderful world of art and poetry. So all of these pages are beautiful to look at, and they're like literally covered with like her art as well. And then they have so many beautiful things that you can just kind of go to. Sometimes I can't get to a whole book. Yeah. I just need a picker up and just something to just kind of flip through. And this has been one of my favorite books. All of her books are beautiful and they look beautiful. So yeah, love this book. What about you?
I'm actually going to go with one that I read ages ago. So I'm going to say there are two books that really gripped me before I started becoming a recreational reader. So before I'd only read for school, right? And for writing papers and doing my master's dissertation. But the first one was The Secret. It's the first book I read cover to cover as an adult. And then the next would have been The Alchemist.
Yeah.
And I really like this book by Paulo Coelho. I think a lot of people have said it's one of their favorites, but this is one of those books that I believe you can read over and over again at different stages in your life. It tells us a story of a young shepherd boy in Spain, but the conversation that happens internally is really important. And I feel like this is one of those books that can really shape a mindset. Yeah. And we all can get a little reminder about how we can move through life through this story.
I love that book. And fun fact is that this book is really great for kids.
It is.
So once you're like, you know, you're reading and you're like, you know, maybe 10 or so, it's a really nice book for them to read because it's written in a way that you can understand. Yeah. It's great for teenagers as well. So I love that book as well.
Another fun fact, this is actually, I believe, one of the most translated books of all books in the history of books.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, great book. My next book is for all of the creatives out there. This is a book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Well. Yes.
Yeah. This book really gave me the courage to live my creative life and really gave me kind of like the permission to go after my big dreams and goals. And so I really recommend this book to anybody who is thinking about, you know, what their creative life may look like. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a singer, songwriter, actress. No, it's nothing to do with that. But it's about incorporating your creativity into your everyday life and how that really can fill you up. Great book.
This one is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks.
Yes.
Now, this book was actually recommended to me by my pediatrician, is his pediatrician and Isaiah's pediatrician, who she came across the book, right? So she came across the book because her son was reading it for his coursework at school, and she and I always have these book conversations. And as she was reading it, she said to me, "Yendi, I really think you would like this book. Let me tell you why this is a game changer. This book tells a story about the single cell that comes from this woman that is the base of all cancer research.
Wow.
All cancer research. And believe it or not, she had a form of cancer that was just growing rapidly. Wow. And they realized it was growing at a rate that they'd never ever seen before. And they illegally kept her cells and were testing on it. And then the result is what we know in the form of many vaccinations that we have, in the form of many medications that we have. They were all tested on the healer cell, and it was called the healer because the HE from Henrietta and the LA from Lacks. Brilliant story. It's a must read.
That.
Very, very good.
So my next book is a really amazing book that actually used to be my mother's book, and I stole it from her. But funny, it's a day book of comfort and joy, and it's one of those that goes through like every day from January all the way to the end. And as you can see, I love these books. And she said, I'll never forget it. She said, I remember when her and my dad were getting divorced. She said this book saved her. Oh, wow. And a lot of women say that about this book because it really kind of takes you through each day with a little bit of something to look forward to or be happy about in that day. So that's a fun fact. Yeah, don't worry, my parents are fine.
As we know from your vlog. This one, I actually went with a novel. So I read this book about 2 years ago, and I promise you, at least once every other month, I wonder about how this character would be doing.
Oh, I love that.
It's a fiction. It's not an autobiography, but she's stayed with me. There's something about her that's really captivating. And I promise you, I just keep thinking to myself, where would she be now? What would she be doing? How is she doing? The Paper Palace is hands down one of my favorite novels.
Yeah.
Fantastic page turner.
Love that.
Yeah.
What a great way to put that. I love that. I think about characters sometimes too. So
yeah.
I'm glad I'm not alone. I ain't crazy.
Listen. Ooh, child. All right, after the break, we move from books that inspire to the good book with Papa San. Please stay with us here on Sunrise.